That's me. Hi. Okay, so we thank our sponsors, and of course, the vote that we've been having was to see which design will go on a new T-shirt, and these are two T-shirts that are have just been released. I personally ordered this one, and so I just can't wait to get it in. I don't know where it is that you teach, but I know across Canada, Pink Shirt Day is important, and then this month too is basically a pink month as well. And I just believe it's important to not just say to students that um, you know we support tolerance, but to wear it sometimes is good too. It's kind of like actions speak louder than words, and that's why I ordered that T-shirt. So today we are on the last part, part three. Ooh. Well, first of all, it is important to know that if you go to djdelf.com and our lovely Shop Talk webpage, you can go there and you can see the last two, part one and part two of this series, are up and loaded for you. What we're tearing through this book here has four sets of missions, 10 each. 50-point missions are really simple things. You watch a video and the students have to have to pull things from the video, and then they have to show knowledge. The 100-point missions, which I really like, are also individual and they're a little bit more challenging. Great things that you can assign for homework, so they can do it in class or they can do it for homework. A lot of fun. The 500-point missions, those are based off of the DJ Delph skits, but the vocab has been changed and jumbled. So if you are a DJ Delpher, as some people call themselves, then it's cool because you get another extra kit. But what's even bonus about it is that you can actually sign them as missions this time with a fresh rubric to sign up to 500 points. And the 1,000-point missions are where we're at right now. There is a quick list of all 40 missions, and we've finished one, finished all these, we finished all these, we finished all these, and now we're into the 30s. So you basically hand the students their missions sheet, and every time that they hand in a mission to you and they complete it, and again, you can use your rubric, you can put a stamp, a sticker. I do stickers. You can do initials. And basically, their job is to complete as many missions as you assign. They don't have to do all 40. I mean, that would take most of the school year. This is about having something that you can actually leave for a supply teacher, or you can assign as extra work or work to do when they're finished. There's many applications. We spoke about that before. Okay, there's the rubrics. I'm gonna fly through them. Oh, there's so many wonderful French teacher Facebook groups, and one of the ones that I belong to is meant for teachers who teach older grades, like secondary school, high school. And on there, I just put out a thing, and I asked if anybody else teaches French grade 10 French immersion history. And I was surprised. There's quite a few teachers, which is really great. So I shared this video, so I'm going to go dig it up. But all you have to do is take this and make a game board out of it. And what I did for history here was I put speaking topics, things that the students learned about the 1920s and 1930s related to Canadian history. And I wanted to make sure that they knew what these things were about. So I called the game Parlez-moi, so speak to me about these things. And I divided the class into 4 teams: a yellow team, a green team, so a yellow team, a green team, the blue team down here, and the pink team over here. And the object of the whole situation is they have to talk about whatever box they're in, first of all, to earn that box. So say the yellow team had to talk about R.V. Bennett and his role in the 1930s, particularly in Canada as a prime minister. And if they did a good job, they got that. If the box became yellow. When it's their next turn, they can move one move. So they can move here, here, or here. All right. And see if, for example, they chose Mardi Noir. If they talked about it and they did a great job, then that box would become yellow. And only they can occupy their box. The object of the game, basically, is, say if, again, I'm on the yellow team, I want to get across the board and try to capture the flag of either the green, blue, or pink team, or as many teams as I can, if I can be dominant, while also trying to defend my own territory. Now, when you do occupy a space, like camp de travail, you can see this, the video is rolling right now, so you can see they took over camp de travail. That means that the green team, if they were heading this way, they can't go through this because this was claimed by the yellow. However, if they can get around and get into here, this is their home base where their flag is. So they can enter this, and if they can talk about R.B. Bennett, and then they've captured the flag, and this would become green. Okay? So, merci, Glenn. So basically, it becomes this huge game of strategy, huge game of survivor as well, because in this particular game, and I share this in the video, if you choose to watch it, you can find out, the green team and the yellow team formed an alliance. It was absolutely fantastic. And they did it for self-preservation. And the green team used it to their advantage to actually capture the pink team's flag. And then when the pink team charged up their rogue army that was left, because their country was gone, which rose up to try to attack the green team, the yellow team actually came over here prepared to defend the green team. All right, so the yellow team actually sacrificed themselves for the greater good of the green team. Now, the green team actually successfully came back and defended their own nation, which was really cool, and defended their own flag. But in the end, what was really funny was while all that was happening, the battle between the yellow, the green, and the pink team, the blue team successfully defended their own territory, filled all these boxes, and scooted up and took the yellow team's flag while the yellow team was too busy trying to help green. Yellow did notice it, rushed back, but was one turn too late, and the blue team entered their territory, spoke correctly about R.B. Bennett, gave me some really good information on him, learned a lot from them, and they captured that yellow. So in the end, the green team and the blue team were sort of tied, but the blue team, I thought, had the best strategy. So this is where it came from. Take the same game and erase this and just simply put in whatever it is that you are wanting to have in there, and then play the game. Okay? All right, so we like that one? Good. As you can see, they all come with the English and French instructions. Now, here's something that if you had beginner students, this follows the game Où est 13 ou J'ai qui a. So all you do is you take these and you photocopy them and you enlarge these sheets. Now, if you have no English at all, so you would, there's a couple of things that you can do. So I would encourage you to do this. This is trop bébé for a lot of people, right? But if you had a beginner's class, first time they've ever been exposed, and if you wanted to include English, for example, Dr. Conti would tell you this too, Gianfranco Conti would tell you there's a thing in our students' brains and our own brains called coding, and we are actually able to switch from one language to another. Much more commonly accepted in Europe, where people speak 3, 4, 5 languages and can switch very easily back and forth. And I love listening to him. I don't know if you ever heard him speak before. He's actually coming to Fred Matters in Toronto. I'm really excited about that. And the truth is that in coding, we can go back and forth. But we do continue on in my program, and I'm the department head. So we do all French. But again, we're in a French immersion program, so that's kind of we have to. That's the whole point. So anyways, you blow these up, and all these cards basically here, you would hand out 1 or 2 of them to each student. If you've never played this before, they are in order here, but you would shuffle them up and switch them. And really quickly, the first student, say if you wanted to start with bras and you wanted to end with bras, and it's just un bras, it would be, they would say, j'ai un bras, où sont les yeux, or where are eyes, for example. And so whoever has yeux, well, that's the matchup. So the match is between eyes and yeux. Okay? One of the first things I learned coming out of teacher's college, and I've got my first teaching assignment, and I was a real teacher, and I was all excited, was I learned the power of competition. Competition within itself, when the class is working as a unit, oh my gosh, is so powerful, especially when they're playing against a perceived some other team, some other thing, like trying to beat a record, or as many of you have seen on the French playground, playing activities with each other. Key things to tell the students is they once they've read a card to flip it over, and that way you know that it's done. And then at the end you stop the timer, so you're actually going to time them and see how quickly they can go through it. Now, one great way of avoiding English, for example, is by taking these cards and having students help you make them. You don't have to make them on your own. Okay, you know we're all about little or no planning as possible, trying to avoid the reinventing of the wheel. Encourage your students to help you make this, so they will actually replace all the English words with drawings, for example. So then you know it'd be really really cool. So they would go bras, and say for les yeux there was 2 eyeballs. They would go yeux because they would remember from when they reviewed earlier. And whoever has the written word yeux would go j'ai les yeux, où est le visage, and there'd be a picture of a face and maybe an arrow pointing to it. So literacy and numeracy is at the forefront here. I love it. So they're reading the numbers as words and reading the numbers as digits. And you've got your basic, and this is how you can play. So j'ai. So j'ai de, où est 5, ou j'ai de, où, à qui a 5, par exemple, for this first card. And when they go through all the cards, you will stop your stopwatch when the last card is read. So that means when this card here, j'ai 100, où est deux, ou j'ai 100, qui est deux, and then as soon as I say deux, boom, on a fini avec ça. So if they take that mission sheet and the whole class has finished this 1,000-point mission, everybody gets to have a stamp or a sticker on their sheet. Okay? That's the idea. And because we did it together, because when we all work together, how happy we'll be. What about this? All right, so I love this one. And warning, warning, warning. I teach grade 9 and 10 French immersion right now. They found this challenging. This particular one here, either you take it slow with them. I definitely would say go over it together with them before you start, so that they know what these objects are and stuff like that. But once it goes, oh my gosh, the thinking level isn't just the simple colors. It's recognizing things in our culture and being able to tie that in with colors. So it tells you what it is that we're looking for as far as the vocab goes. All right. And then let's go back up to it. So in this case, one thing was my students were stuck on Starbucks. According to the book, it says green and black are the colors for Starbucks. It could be green and white. This could be acceptable. Black is just used as the base or the anchor color, but that's fine. But make sure they know that. Blockbuster Video, that is put there on purpose because that is an ancient store, but it has a huge effect on our culture. So knowing that it's blue and yellow for that, blue and yellow, yeah, is important. Your city kids may not know the color of a John Deere tractor, but it's a fantastic way for them to learn. So you can actually have a lot of cool conversations out of this, believe it or not, before you even begin. But how this will work then is the first kid will go, j'ai orange, so I've got orange. Le drapeau du Canada. So what colors are, because it says der, and they can even yellow der, are the colors of the Canadian flag. So red and white, as some of you know. And whoever has that will go, oh, rouge et blanc, that must be me. So they'll read, rouge et blanc, le gazon. Okay. Now here's where this gets extremely pedagogically sexy. All right, so you've got le gazon, and it is le masculin. So the answer is vert. The answer cannot be verte, okay, because that would be feminine. Isn't that kind of cool? So it has to be masculine in this case. But if the student would have said la grenouille, which is the frog, well, the frog's green. Not always. We're not going to be racist. But a lot of frogs are green. And it's la grenouille, so it is verte. Oh, okay. So this one is for very much like that other one. This is the parts of a house. And by parts of the house, I mean everything. Rooms, furniture. It's quite involved, which is fine. That is okay. And again, if you choose not to use something with English words, you can certainly have your students create new cards with pictures, which is fantastic. So we already know how the game is played. All right, nationalities, yay. So on these here, I just go, guys, you complete it. I'm going to give you 1,000 points. And they get all excited, even though they're high school students and they shouldn't be, but that's fine. And so basically what it is they will all earn it as a class for the 1,000-point missions. So when they complete a 1,000-point mission, boom, I will put a sticker or whatever on it. These were some of the things that we were looking for. If you choose to go by that, but if you teach in a school where there's a lot of different ethnicities and races, it's really cool to do this type of a life aspect or unit and playing this game, because this game does three things for my students. One, it teaches them the names of the countries. Sorry. Second, it teaches them the nationalities. But third, and most cleverly, it teaches them when to say en or when to say au. En Grèce, au Mexique. Okay? And it even helps refresh good old me. I mean, I'm ancient like a warrior. And this really helps refresh my memory too, with the country genders. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's not over though. Don't think that they're all the same, because they're not. Wait till you see what's coming up. So we have another quick one on colors. So somebody was mentioning colors before. This one is related to one of my favorite missions in here, which is mission number 12. I think it's number 12, the Les Couleurs one. And that one is fantastic. So this is another review that we can do as a class. But I would switch these cards for actual colors and have the students make color cards. Okay, so let's get past this. All right, so 38, Google Earth. Basically, with your class, you have to make a list of 20 destinations that you have to pinpoint and find in Google Earth. Then they go and use Google Earth, which is really fun if you've never done it, okay? And they have to actually map out as a class. Don't worry. It's not, I mean, unless, like, say, Brandon, if you're looking for an individual thing that can be done with a 1,000-point mission, absolutely assign this as an individual thing. Maybe break them up into groups of 2, 4, whatever you want to do. But the idea is they have to pinpoint and identify where these things, it could be monuments. I didn't experience this as a kid because I'm too old, but soon after I left school, there was a thing called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And that was like a cultural phenomenon. This is kind of like that as well. So you could have like little things like this, and I think the Maldives are down here. I think they're down here. I don't know, but something like that. And absolutely fantastic. Real world applications using technology to find these things. But I would start with, let me scroll down and I'll show you. I would start with this part here, and your students will decide on what the 20 things are, and then they just have to write the number on here. So number 1 is here, number 2 is here, number 3 is here, like exactly where it's at, and then they list the things here. So I think the best way that I found is that when the students as a whole decide on 20 monuments to find, or cities, or places, or locations, then we're all working together. So, yep. So you like this one? This one has potential, especially if you're teaching geography or you wanted to do some sort of like cross-curricular thing with geography. I think that would be good. Even history, because you could have historical things. Okay, here we go. So now we're going back to that game, that awesome game that we talked about in the beginning, but this time it's based on transportation. If you have the DJ Delph kit, you would love this because it covers the Suivez mes directions thing. Mis direcciones. Sorry, a little Spanish there. So basically, it's the same game. You divide your class into 4 teams, or they can play it as a board game. I've done that. Play it as a board game at their desks in groups of 4. The only problem with this is I add a 5th person, and I have that person be the judge, and I make sure that they have an answer guide and that they can actually help lead. No, what we saved was the hardest one for last. So this one I was asked to is so funny because when we first started this series in part one, I was asked to, can you please just go to number 40 and explain it to me? So it is not as hard as it looks. So this one here, you're going to cut out and shuffle these cards. And a student will begin by reading the letter on the top. J, like J, like J. They'll just say J. Then they're going to go J plus 10. So J, let's find it on our little abacus thing here. Plus 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. La lettre Q. Q, okay? So the students in their own heads have to figure out what G plus 10 is. G plus 10, the code, and coding is very big right now, the code is going to lead you to the letter Q. So only the student with the letter Q will go, Q, j'ai Q, Q moins 5. Oh my gosh, you're making them go backwards. So we're at Q, now we're going to go moins 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's la lettre L. So j'ai L, L moins 11. So now you've got letters, you've got numbers, you have math. I mean, your administration, if they walked into your classroom, I guarantee you, they would immediately leave your classroom, call the director of education, and recommend you become superintendent starting the next week because of the amazing brilliance that is going on in your classroom. All right. So yeah, this can be a lot of fun. It's a good way to teach math too, about subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, and the terms that we use when we speak French. So that is really, really cool. So thank you for joining me on this tour of the 40 missions from the French Playground missions book. And I hope that it's inspired you to create your own, or if you're going to use this one, to get excited about using it with your students. And I hope that you use it as I think it was intended by the authors, which was to inspire students to have fun with French, to be able to take it home and do these challenges at home. Now, not these 1,000-point mission ones particularly, but say the first 30 that you saw. So thank you so very, very much.